Welcome to podcast Sarah and Michael.
It is incredibly good to see you again.
It is so great to be here. I am entirely ready for this.
Good, because I'm just going to skip the usual small talk today.
Yeah.
My brain is completely stuck on one particular number from this stack of notes we're looking at.
I have a very strong suspicion I know exactly which number from the keynote stopped you in your tracks.
It has to be the token count, right?
Well, absolutely.
So for you listening, we have a massive mission for today's deep dive. We are looking at a huge stack of sources, specifically the official Google blog releases, and a really excellent summary from Thai, PBS, and KnowW.
Right.
And these are covering all the monumental announcements from Google I/O 2026. And the metric that just kicked this all off is staggering.
It really is.
A token, just to keep it simple for everyone, is essentially a basic unit of data that an AI model processes. So a word or a piece of an image, maybe a snippet of code. 2 years ago, Google was processing 9.7 trillion tokens a month, which is massive, right?
Good.
And at last year's I/O, that grew to 480 trillion. But today, they announced they are processing over 3.2 quadrillion tokens.
Every single month.
Every single month. That is a sevenfold jump in just 1 year. It's almost an unfathomable amount of data processing.
The sheer physics of that number is, well, it's hard to wrap your head around.
Right.
But it's not just a vanity metric, to flex their server farms.
Right.
That number actually tells a profound story about a shift in human behavior. Because our mission today isn't just to talk about scale.
No, not at all.
What we are really decoding from these sources is the single most important tech shift of this decade. We are watching the definitive transition from what the industry calls prompt-driven AI to the agentic era.
Okay, let's define that for the listener really quick. Prompt-driven AI is the dynamic we are all intimately familiar with at this point.
Right, the chatbot dynamic.
Exactly. You stare at a blinking cursor, you type in a question, you sit there waiting for the AI to spit out an answer. It's entirely reactive.
Yes, it is.
It's basically a master-servant dynamic where the digital servant only moves when it is explicitly spoken to.
Which, to be fair, was revolutionary 2 years ago.
Oh, completely.
But it's highly limited. This new agentic era fundamentally changes that relationship. This is about AI doing things autonomously on your behalf.
So no more waiting around for prompts.
Exactly. We're talking about an AI that doesn't just sit and wait to answer. It proactively plans, it executes multi-step workflows, and it operates constantly in the background while you go about your physical life.
Wow.
It's moving from a digital encyclopedia to an autonomous digital proxy.
But to get there, to have an AI that is constantly thinking, parsing, and acting on your behalf without crashing the entire global internet, you need an unimaginable amount of computing power.
You really do.
You can't just flip a switch in the software and suddenly have billions of autonomous agents running.
So before we get into what this AI can actually do for you, we really have to talk about the engine room.
The hardware.
Right, the massive physical machinery making this leap possible. And the physical reality of AI is something people often overlook, I think.
For sure.
Because this isn't just, invisible code floating in the ether. It requires heavy, incredibly expensive industrial infrastructure.
Yeah, and the sources highlight that Google's capital expenditure, their CapEx, so the money they spend on physical assets like servers and real estate, that has increased 6 times over since 2022.
And they're projected to hit $190 billion this year alone.
$190 billion. That is the GDP of a small country just poured entirely into servers and cooling systems.
It is staggering.
Right.
And a massive chunk of that is going directly into their custom silicon chips.
Right.
They introduced their 8th generation tensor processing units, or TPUs, and to manage this shift to the agentic era, they've actually split the architecture into 2 distinct chips.
So what's the first one?
First, you have the TPU-AT, which is built entirely for training the AI.
And the sources point out something wild about this training process. Historically, if you wanted to train an AI model, you had to physically contain it inside one single massive data center.
Right, because of the latency.
Exactly, because if you tried to link data centers across the country, the slight delay in data traveling over fiber optic cables, that latency, it would just break the training process.
But they've shattered that limitation now using systems called JAX and pathways.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because these hardware upgrades, they might sound a bit dry or highly technical to some, but they are absolutely the secret sauce here.
They really are.
It's like we are upgrading from a really smart calculator that you occasionally pull out of your desk drawer to an entire automated, self-sustaining factory that never, ever stops running.
That's a great way to put it.
But how does building this massive, hyper-fast hardware actually enable the software to jump to autonomous agents? I mean, what's the connection?
What's fascinating here is that autonomous AI needs to be completely frictionless.
Okay.
If an AI agent is going to run 24/7 in the background,
Right.
say it's constantly checking flight prices, reading your incoming emails, and cross-referencing your scheduling,
Right.
it is making thousands of tiny computational queries an hour. If there is even a 1-second delay or a high financial cost for each of those tiny background queries, the whole system just collapses under its own weight. So reducing the latency and the computing cost is the exact catalyst needed to let AI run constantly without bankrupting the company or draining your battery.
Which perfectly explains the other chip, the TPU 8i.
Exactly.
And the I stands for inference, which is when the AI is actually out in the world doing the work for you.
Right, putting the training into practice.
Yeah, and to run on that chip, Google introduced a new model called Gemini 3.5 Flash. The sources emphasized that Flash was built specifically for speed, extreme cost-effectiveness, and coding efficiency.
And the cost savings are huge.
Yeah. In fact, if enterprise companies shift 80% of their daily workloads over to Gemini 3.5 Flash, they could save over $1 billion a year.
Changing the economics of AI is exactly what allows it to become ubiquitous. But processing text cheaply isn't enough for an autonomous agent.
What do you mean?
Well, an agent needs to understand the messy real world. That is why they also introduced Gemini Omni, which they are calling a multimodal world model.
Okay, let's bring the listener into this for a second. Up until now, if you gave an AI a picture of, say, a leaky pipe under your sink, it usually had to run a background process to convert those pixels into text words.
Right, like metal pipe, wrench, water droplet.
Exactly. It would process that text and then try to output a text response. It was basically playing a game of telephone with itself.
Which is incredibly inefficient. Gemini Omni bypasses that text conversion entirely. It digests the world natively.
So no more translation step?
None. You can input anything live video from your phone, camera, raw audio, text, or code, and it can output any combination of those formats natively.
Wow.
It does it without translating it into text first. It's a massive paradigm shift from an AI that just guesses the next most likely word in a sentence to an AI that is actually simulating physical reality.
So the 8th gen TPUs are humming, Gemini Omni understands the physical world natively, and Gemini 3.5 Flash is running the logic at lightning speed.
The stage is set.
Now, what is this factory actually producing for you and me? And this brings us to the flagship announcement of the entire Google I/O event, which is Gemini Spark.
This is the definitive leap into the agentic era we've been building toward.
Yeah.
Because Gemini Spark isn't just an app you download on your phone. It is a personal AI agent running on a dedicated Google Cloud virtual machine.
A virtual machine just for you.
Exactly. And it's active 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Which means it fundamentally doesn't rely on your local hardware. It works even when your laptop is completely slammed shut, your phone is turned off, and you're fast asleep.
Precisely. Because it's running continuously on a cloud virtual machine, it isn't just answering one-off questions.
Right.
It is handling complex, multi-step tasks over long periods of time. The sources give some amazing examples.
Like what?
Like having it negotiate and draft business emails while you sleep, actively managing and redlining contracts, planning out the logistics of an entire multi-day event, or even continuously auditing your monthly statements to check for hidden fees.
And crucially, it doesn't just live trapped inside the Google ecosystem of Docs and Gmail, right?
No, it goes way beyond that.
Yeah, through a new standard called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, Gemini Spark can securely connect to over 30 third-party tools right out of the gate.
Yes.
We're talking about deep integrations with Adobe, Dropbox, Uber. It's reaching out into the broader internet to pull levers and get things done.
It's acting as your proxy everywhere.
But wait, hold on. I have to push back on this concept for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Letting an AI manage my life in the background, like reading my private Dropbox files or booking an Uber without me physically clicking a confirmation button, isn't that a massive loss of control?
It definitely sounds like it at first.
It feels incredibly unnerving to just hand the keys to my digital life over to a cloud server and, just hope it doesn't accidentally email my boss something crazy.
It is a huge psychological hurdle, and honestly, it's the biggest obstacle to widespread adoption. People were terrified of an AI running amok in the background.
Obviously.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, Google is highly aware of that exact anxiety. They know they can't just release an autonomous agent and say, hey, trust us.
Right, that would never work.
So they are releasing a robust suite of structural governance tools designed to keep you firmly in the driver's seat.
Okay, how does that work?
For instance, developers and power users will utilize a new standalone desktop hub called Anti-Gravity 2.0.
Which acts like a command center where you can strictly code the boundaries of what these agents are allowed to touch.
Exactly. And for everyday users who just want it on their phones, they announced a completely new user interface called Android Halo.
Android Halo.
Coming later this year. Think of Halo as an air traffic control dashboard. You can open it up and monitor real-time, step-by-step updates of exactly what Gemini Spark is doing. You can pause it, audit its decisions, and set strict financial or data budgets.
That makes a lot more sense. The paradigm shift here is that the human role is fundamentally changing.
Yes.
You are moving from being the tired doer of every little digital chore to being the manager of a highly capable digital assistant.
Exactly. You're the supervisor now.
You set the parameters in Android Halo or Anti-Gravity 2.0. You define what success looks like, and the agent goes to work.
That is exactly it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because if you have a 247 digital manager, it fundamentally breaks and rebuilds the apps we've used every single day for decades.
It changes everything.
Take Google Search. For the first time in 25 years, they have radically overhauled the search box. It now physically expands to accommodate long, conversational, complex prompts.
The entire era of Googling by typing 3 keywords and endlessly clicking through pages of blue links that is essentially dead.
Wow.
With the new AI mode, search becomes a continuous conversation. But the real game changer they introduce within search is the information agent.
Oh, this feature is wild. Let's say you are researching a highly specific medical condition, or maybe trying to find a very niche piece of historical data.
Something that takes a lot of digging.
Right. If you can't find it on the first page of results, you don't just sit there tweaking your keywords and refreshing for an hour anymore.
No, you deploy your information agent.
You tell it what you need, you close the browser, and you go walk your dog. It scours the deep web for you in the background, filtering out all the garbage, and it pings you when it has compiled the exact right information.
And they're applying that exact same agentic logic to e-commerce with a feature called the Universal Cart.
Yes, the Universal Cart.
This is an AI shopping agent that spans across different, completely unconnected websites.
So imagine you are trying to build a custom PC. The agent tracks price histories across different retailers, alerts you to sudden restocks, and actually adds the items to a unified cart while you are off, I don't know, watching a tutorial on YouTube or checking your Gmail.
It is entirely eliminating the legwork. And it's not just about consuming information or buying things, this agentic era is changing how we create from scratch.
Oh, like the Docs Live feature.
Exactly. Look at the new Docs Live. We've all tried using voice dictation on our phones, right?
Yeah, where you speak and it clumsily types out your exact rambling words with 0 punctuation.
It's terrible. But Docs Live evolves that entirely. You could be stuck in traffic, doing a raw brain dump in your microphone.
Just venting your half-formed ideas.
Skipping around, interrupting yourself.
Yeah.
The AI parses the semantics of your speech. It instantly organizes that chaos and outputs a highly polished, perfectly structured document.
That is incredible.
And that agent-driven creation extends far beyond text documents. The sources detail a new tool called Google Flow, which leverages that Gemini Omni model we discussed earlier.
A multimodal.
Right. Flow lets you generate and edit complex video and audio just by chatting with the agent.
So you don't need a complex editing timeline.
No, you can just ask it to isolate a speaker's audio, change a video's background to a sunset, or add professional voiceovers effortlessly.
And for still images, there is Google Pics, which is powered by a specific image model called Nano Banana.
Which is quite the name.
Nano Banana. The name is absolutely hilarious, but the scale of what it is doing is not. The keynote revealed it has already generated over 50 billion images in the last year alone.
50 billion. The scale is immense. But what makes Nano Banana different from older image generators is how it understands composition.
How so?
Well, Google Pics treats elements in a generated image as individual layered objects, not just a flat, static grid of pixels.
Oh, okay.
So if it generates a picture of a dog on a beach, you can grab the dog, move it to the left, and change its breed with perfect precision without the rest of the image melting or distorting.
That is so cool. So whether you are searching for obscure data, shopping for parts, or creating a marketing video, the AI agent is the intermediary doing all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. And even the way we consume media is shifting to save time.
Right, the new Ask YouTube feature.
Yes, that feature lets you skip that tedious scrubbing back and forth on the timeline. You just ask a question about the video.
Like, what temperature did she set the oven to?
Exactly, and the AI agent instantly jumps you to the exact second that holds the answer.
That is going to save so much time.
Or look at the daily brief in the Gemini app, which acts like an elite executive assistant.
Right.
It digests your chaotic inbox, your calendar conflicts, and your to-do list overnight, and hands you a concise morning summary with prioritized, actionable next steps.
But, you know, everything we've discussed so far, the massive TPU clusters orchestrating globally, Gemini Spark running on cloud machines, the universal cart shopping for you.
Yeah.
It all lives trapped on our screens, in our phones, our laptops, and browsers.
That's true.
But the final piece of the agentic era that Google laid out is bringing this AI out into the physical world, because an autonomous agent is ultimately blind if it only ever sees what you type into a keyboard.
Exactly. Leaving the screen behind is the necessary next step. And to do that, they announced audio glasses arriving this fall.
Audio glasses.
And what's brilliant here is the strategy. They partnered with heavy hitters like Samsung and Qualcomm for the internal processing tech, but they partnered with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster for the physical design.
That design choice is critical for adoption. I mean, they are ensuring these devices don't look like bulky, dystopian cyborg gear that just alienates people on the street.
Right, nobody wants to wear that.
They are designed to look exactly like stylish, everyday prescription glasses or sunglasses.
Yeah.
I really think partnering with Warby Parker is the ultimate Trojan horse for getting AI seamlessly onto our faces.
It's a very smart move.
You're wearing completely normal-looking glasses, but because of Gemini Omni, the AI can see what you see.
Because it's multimodal.
Yeah, you can look at a cafe across the street and just ask your glasses to order your usual coffee, or look at a historical monument while traveling and have it narrate an audio tour directly into your ear.
It's totally hands-free, frictionless interaction with the real world.
And to make that physical integration feel natural rather than robotic, Google is completely redesigning the Gemini app's interface with something they call the Neural Expressive UI.
Oh, the new interface.
Right. It uses fluid animations, vibrant colors, and very specific haptic feedback, so subtle, intuitive vibrations when you interact with it, to make the AI feel less like a static software tool and more alive and responsive to your presence.
But stepping out into the physical world and having an AI that feels alive and can instantaneously generate any hyper-realistic image or video with Nano Banana and Omni, it brings up a massive unavoidable issue: reality and trust.
Oh, absolutely.
The Thai PBS-NW summary pointed out a really alarming piece of research from the event. Currently, only 1 in 4 people can successfully spot a high-quality AI deepfake.
Just 1 in 4? That is terrifying.
This raises an important question. If an AI can generate a flawless, hyper-realistic video of a politician or a CEO from a simple text prompt, how do we protect the very concept of objective truth in society?
That is the million-dollar question.
Google's answer to this existential threat is a massive expansion of their invisible watermarking technologies, specifically the SynthID and C2PA standards.
Right. The sources mentioned they have already successfully watermarked over 100 billion items.
100 billion, yes.
And now they're heavily expanding that integration directly into Google Search and the Chrome browser. So as a user, you can just click on content credentials to instantly see the provenance of an image, like whether it came from a real camera lens or an AI prompt.
But the most significant news regarding SynthID isn't just Google expanding its own proprietary tool.
What is it?
It's that massive competitors, companies like OpenAI, Kakao, and 11 Labs, are all officially adopting Google's SynthID standard.
Wow. You almost never see that kind of cross-industry collaboration.
Very rarely.
Usually, tech giants fight bloody, decade-long wars over standards. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants their proprietary format to be the winner.
It is a massive historical anomaly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the integrity of digital media, fragmented standards would be a total disaster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If every company had a different watermark, the public would just give up trying to verify anything.
Yeah, it'd be too confusing.
Exactly. Having the biggest, fiercest rivals in the industry unite behind a single invisible watermark standard like SynthID is really the only way society survives an era where AI can generate anything from any input.
It really is.
It is the foundational guardrail required for the agentic era to safely exist.
So we've covered the $190 billion engine room, the 247 autonomous cloud agents, the total overhaul of everyday apps like search and docs, and the crucial leap into physical hardware and global safety standards.
Well, I covered a lot of ground today.
We did. And to synthesize all of this for you, the listener, the grand takeaway from Google I/O 2026 is that we have crossed a fundamental threshold.
Yeah.
AI is no longer just a digital encyclopedia you pull out of your pocket to ask a trivia question. It is an autonomous proxy. It is a capable manager working on your behalf 204/7 across your devices, across third-party apps, and very soon out in the real world through the glasses on your face.
And the reason this profound shift matters for you personally is about resource allocation specifically, reclaiming your time.
Getting your time back.
Exactly. The agentic era is entirely about taking back the countless hours you currently spend on tedious administrative friction.
Like tracking price drops across 10 tabs.
Or drafting rote meeting notes, hunting through video timelines for one specific fact, or fighting with a blinking cursor.
Yeah.
By offloading that friction to tools like Gemini Spark and the Universal Cart, the ultimate goal is to elevate human output, to let you stop being a digital data entry clerk and start focusing on high-level decision-making and genuine creativity.
So what does this all mean? I want to leave you with the final thought to chew on as we wrap up today's deep dive.
Let's hear it.
If Gemini Spark, information agents, and daily briefs successfully take over all the logistical, administrative background noise of our daily lives, what are you going to do with all the mental bandwidth you are about to get back?
That is the real question.
Are we going to just become lazier, letting algorithms quietly run our schedules, our shopping, and our emails while we check out? Or are we about to see an unprecedented explosion of human creativity because for the first time in modern history, we actually have the time and the unburdened energy to focus on what really matters?
I can't wait to find out.
It's a fascinating question for the decade ahead. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time.